It's locked.
Yes?
Greetings, my lady. I am Cyrus.
A sentinel accent, isn't it? I am Cassandra, silversmith of Stros M'kai. Pleased to meet you.
Are you from Sentinel originally?
Yes, I owned a shop there for 6 years, on Market Street. Perhaps you know it? Sentinel is overcrowded these days, and when I heard of a business for sale here, I decided to take the chance. So far, I haven't had too much trouble from the locals.
Why would the local people give you trouble?
Forebears aren't exactly popular around here, you know. I've never been much involved in politics, but I always supported the forebear cause. Before the war, all that didn't matter. I had many friends who were crowns, but things are different now.
Why would the local people give you trouble?
Forebears aren't exactly popular around here, you know. I've never been much involved in politics, but I always supported the forebear cause. Before the war, all that didn't matter. I had many friends who were crowns, but things are different now.
You're new here, then?
Arrived only 2 months ago. I'm still trying to get things sorted out. The former owner must not have cleaned this place for 20 years. There was so much junk piled up. I tossed most of it in my warehouse next door just to get it out of the way.
The old silversmith. He left because of the war?
He died, actually. I bought the shop from his estate. I guess there was some kind of incident in the old quarter where the most fanatical crowns lived.
I'm looking for my sister, Izara. Do you know her?
I'm afraid not. I have few friends here as yet. I'm hoping that as time passes, things will get back to normal, but the war is still too fresh for people here to forget that I'm a forebear.
How has Stros M'kai fared under Imperial occupation?
It's suffered greatly. The incident in the old quarter seems to have left the city in shock. The crowns lost the war, after all. You can't expect them to get over that in a few months.
What can you tell me about the Restless League?
I know I sound just like every other forebear, but they were nothing more than pirates, using the Civil War as cover for their crimes. They were a black mark on the Crown's cause from the beginning. The destruction of the League is one of the few good things to come from the Empire's victory.
So the League has been wiped out?
As far as I can tell, they haven't been seen in Stros M'kai in weeks. Their last hurrah was blowing up the governor's flagship, a pointless gesture which only spurred Redguard to finish cleaning out their organization from the city.
What do you know of the new provisional governor, Redguard?
Ruthless to a fault. Served him well during the war, but not a trait guaranteed to win loyalty in a new province. I wonder how much Tiber Septim knows of what Redguard is up to here in Hammerfell.
Tiber Septim, the colossus of our generation, Tamriel's new self-proclaimed emperor. What's your take?
The Empire's expansion has proceeded according to the merits of the Emperor's servants. By all accounts, Septim's governor in High Rock has ended the feuding of the Witch Kings there with tact and skill. The Emperor's representative here in Stros M'kai is not of the same caliber, and the Emperor is viewed dimly as a result.
You call it the Empire's victory. What of the forebears?
Please, I'm not one of the forebear fanatics. Anyone can see that Baron Volog was used, then cast aside by the Empire. He hoped to be king of Hammerfell, but who has seen him since his supposed victory?
You disagree with Baron Volag's decision to ally the forebears with the Empire?
A gamble that he lost. As a forebear, I supported Volog's claim to the throne of Hammerfell. I never supposed he was infallible. But the war's over now, and the only thing to do is make the best of the new situation. A philosophy more crowns should embrace, if you ask me.
I've been told of a smuggler's den under the cartographer's shop. Have you heard of it?
Sure I have. Smuggler's Den. Ha! A pretty grandiose name for a place where the local boys go to get away from their wives and play cards.
So do you think it's nothing more sinister than that?
Well, I've heard rumors it was connected with the Restless League, but they're hard to take seriously if a joker like Lakeen could get in.
I admire your courage, a forebear in the crown capital.
When I first arrived, the Restless League made a few threats, but the Empire seems to have them under control now. Forebear and Crown, that's all in the past anyway. Hammerfell is part of the Empire now. At least we finally can stop killing each other.
Do you know what happened?
It was before I arrived. The people here tell some pretty fantastic stories. As near as I can figure, the Crowns burned their houses down around their heads rather than surrender after the Imperials took the city. Some would call that admirable, but I think the Redguards put too much stock in zealotry.
I haven't been back to Sentinel since before the war. How did it fare?
Better than Stros M'kai. Before I came here, I thought the stories I'd heard were just Crown propaganda. The Crowns recaptured Sentinel just before the Empire intervened, but it was nothing like this. Stros M'kai was the center of Crown resistance, and I suppose the Empire is making an example of the city.
The Keen. Who's he?
The local handyman? Not a bad sort, don't get me wrong, but a bit lunatic fringe. Hardly what I'd call the foundation of a revolution.
What does the Keen have to do with the smuggler's den?
Oh, I really shouldn't gossip, but I'm sure you won't tell anyone, will you, Cyrus? Seems he was gambling at the smuggler's den and lost his wife's antique silver locket. He came to me, desperate to have it replaced, so she wouldn't find out. I'd have been glad to help, but I couldn't reproduce it simply from his description. Poor fellow, he went away quite crushed.
Excuse me. Perhaps we can speak later.
Looking for something?
Greetings, old man. I am Cyrus.
Cyrus, eh? Never heard of you. Must be new around here. My name's Favis. Everybody just calls me Favis, though.
My sister Izara is missing. Do you know her?
Sure, nice young lady, too. Sister, you say? I haven't seen her around in a while, though. Wonder if she might be missing.
Apparently, no one has seen her for months. Do you have any idea what might have happened?
Might have something to do with the Restless League. Some of them fellows came around looking for her a while back.
Apparently, no one has seen her for months. Do you have any idea what might have happened?
Might have something to do with the Restless League. Some of them fellows came around looking for her a while back.
Izara was in trouble with the Restless League?
I didn't say that. Although, come to think of it, they didn't look too friendly. No one you want to cross, that's for sure. Their enemies have a way of turning up dead.
My ship was attacked by 2 members of the Restless League just off Stros M'kai. What can you tell me about them?
Not much. Fire-eating Redguard nationalists. More even than most crowns could stomach. But they've kept quiet since the old quarter was burned. I wonder why they decided to attack your ship.
Stros M'kai was a crown stronghold, wasn't it?
It was the seat of power for the crowns. Ator led the crowns from here after Thasad's death. We've suffered greatly for it since young Prince Ator died. Took all hope out of the crowns, but not all the fight.
Not all?
No, the battle in the old quarter did that.
What happened to Prince Ator?
Died in battle, like a Redguard hero of old. I've heard tales that he ain't dead, but that's all rubbish.
Really?
I spoke with sailors from the Garamar, second in line of battle behind Ator's flagship. They saw him on deck just as the dragon lit up his ship like a festival bonfire. Weren't any survivors from the flagship? Not a one.
King Fasad's death was inconvenient for many, but I've never heard tell of foul play.
Nor I. The forebears preferred Thasad to his son Ator. a known League sympathizer. The Zod had no patience for the League himself. Called them terrorists. Maybe true, but they've shown more sense than the Crowns through this whole bloody mess.
I expected to see Stros M'kai full of forebears after their victory.
Hardly a forebear victory. It was Imperial might that defeated the Crowns, laddie. Make no mistake about that. The four show few that Rickon brought with him mostly stay up in the palace or drink themselves to stupor. You might run into them at the Dragon Tail, looking for trouble, so you'll want to be careful.
Tell me what happened in the Old Quarter.
The Crowns made their last stand there after the dragon destroyed Ator's fleet. Senseless bravado. Should have done what the League did and laid low until the Imperials were off guard. Instead, they went down fighting. Redguard heroes, but dead all the same.
I don't know. How long has it been since their last attack?
Must have been a month or two at least. Their last big success was blowing up Rickman's flagship right here in the harbor. A pity in a way. Whatever else you say about the Imperials, they make beautiful ships. With that little caper cost the League plenty. Afterwards, Rickman rounded up anyone who'd ever spoken to a Leaguesman. I was starting to think he had crushed them completely.
You're not in the Restless League?
Me? Ha! If I was, do you think I'd still be here? With precious Governor Rickman throwing every known Leaguesman in the catacombs? In my day, things were simple. A Redguard was loyal to the king, and that was that. All this newfangled politics, crowns and forebears, Restless League, not for me.
You're in charge of this bell tower?
Don't wanna be, but I'm stuck with it. Dan Purnell's fault leaves me stuck here while he sits up in the cool breeze and watches Hunden Bay roll by. Does he think I'd like to wave the flag once in a while? Stubborn as a mule he is, and ungrateful to boot.
Purnell? A friend of yours?
Friend? Ha! Blind as a bat he is, but will he ever let me wave the flag? No! Too stuffy down there, he says. You'd fall off the chair, he says. Always some excuse. Now he's gone and broken the bell. Don't know why I put up with him.
I'm not sure I follow you. What flag do you mean?
We're supposed to trade off. One of us watches for ships, waves the flag when he sees one, then the other rings the bell to let people know. But he never lets me take my turn in the watchtower. Doesn't care about my feelings, not at all. Always about what Purnell wants.
The bell doesn't look broken.
Well, not broken exactly, but I'm sure it doesn't ring as loud as it used to. But Purnell wouldn't let me have Lakin look at it, would he? Insisted on doing it himself. Typical. Took him half the day, then had the nerve to tell me there's nothing wrong with it.
I'm not sure if I've met Lakin.
Me neither. Now that Lakin, on the other hand, handiest young fellow I ever met, can fix anything. Hey, you look like a handy sort yourself. Maybe you could take a look at it for me.
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Good lad.
What's this? Nothing wrong with this bell. Just the old man's ears that need fixing. What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this?
Oh, stay there, young fella.
What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? It doesn't do anything by itself.
Stay there, young fella!
Favas, my friend.
You're Cyrus, aren't you? I thought so!
I checked, and there's nothing wrong with the bell.
Good lad! I was right! That fool Purnell said it didn't need fixing, but I knew it needed fixing, so you fixed it, eh? Well, I'm much obliged.
How do things stand in Stros M'kai under Imperial occupation?
As bad as they can be. Looks peaceful now, doesn't it? The peace of the grave, it is. Most of the younger folk dead or run off. In the old days, this was the bustling south heart of Hammerfell. Harbor jammed with shipping, sailors from all over walking the street. What you see now is the ghost of the old Stros M'kai. Dead, but it just don't know it yet.
What of these catacombs?
You're a nosy young fella, aren't you? The less you know about them, the better. If Redguard doesn't like you, he throws you in jail. If he really doesn't like you, he throws you in the catacombs. No one comes out of there alive.
This dragon, have you seen it?
Not with my own eyes, but I heard tell of it from the survivors. They say Rickton keeps it in the catacombs, feeding it on captured leaguesmen.
What can you tell me about Governor Rickton?
You don't look like one of his spies.
Rest assured.
I'm too old to worry about such things anyway. Huh. Why was I worrying?
Rickton.
Oh yeah, good soldier maybe, but a bloodthirsty beast of a ruler. Enjoys having Stros M'kai under his thumb, he does. Won't be much of it left when he's through.
That's all for now, Favas.
Hey, don't. Well?
It's locked. A word.
Haven't got a coin to spare, stranger. Try someone else.
It's locked. It's locked. It's locked. It's locked.
Blessings and welcome.
Hello, brother. I'm Cyrus, recent to this shore.
Brother Niddle, good son. Welcome to the Temple of Arkay.
Can you heal me, Brother Niddle?
Please forgive the formalities, but the governor has levied a temple tax of 25 gold for any magical services rendered, healing or otherwise. Will you pay the tax? I see nothing wrong with you, my boy. Count your blessings.
My sister Izara has been missing for near 3 months. Perhaps you have heard of her?
I knew her well, actually. But she never mentioned having a brother. She was a fiery sort, as I'm sure you know, and her Redguard blood did not fare well under Imperial rule. She is not the only nationalist who has disappeared since the governor claimed the city. There have been others.
What others have disappeared?
Brother Kithral, my initiate and good friend, for one. He was an outspoken man and a Crown sympathizer. He was enamored of your sister, I must say, and took to her Crown propaganda readily. Are you a follower of Arkay, Cyrus?
Me? No. Well, not in the worshipper sense.
In what sense, then?
I'm not that wayward, brother. I do believe in the gods and in their, importance to man and, all that.
And Arkay's importance would be...
I'm usually the one who asks all the questions, Brother Niddle.
Humor an old man.
Arkay, then, the shepherd of the soul who watches us through our lives and our deaths and guides us between them in the heavenly interim.
May he watch over you.
Is there anything you can tell me about the Restless League, brother?
I know very little about their activities, Cyrus. The common stories, sure, but not much more.
I know even less of the League than you, brother. The common stories included.
Then know that they are ruffians and cutthroats who would like nothing more than carve their symbol upon the Emperor's eyes for daring to set them on Hammerfell. And know they secretly served the prince against the forebears during the Civil War to help Ator win back Sentinel.
What is the League's symbol?
The red R, for restless as they ever are. Trust me, you will see it if you stay in Stros M'kai for long, invariably written in Imperial blood.
Sentinel, the capital city.
From whence Ator was forced to flee soon after his father died. Aye, but the crowns gathered here at Stros M'kai and charged northwards to take their throne city back. But by then, the Imperial bargain had been struck.
How is Stros M'kai these days, Brother Niddle?
You should be able to see it just from the faces on the streets, my boy. But then again, there aren't that many faces out there anymore. Things have become quiet since the occupation.
I have seen the Empire expanding into all of Tamriel in my travels. Why is the occupation of Stros M'kai full of more bloodshed than most?
You have only your Redguard blood to answer that, my boy. When has Hammerfell ever suffered foreign rule? The Civil War was bloody, to be sure, but when the forebears allied with the Empire, the crowns felt they had been betrayed by their own kind. They were prepared to fight to the last man, and the Empire sent Admiral Richten to make sure they did.
Tell me of the forebears.
Living in Stros M'kai, you only get the Crown definition, of course. That the forebears were the pretenders to the throne, that they betrayed the Republic, and that Hammerfell has been cursed by their cowardice.
Izara was a crown, I know that. As a crown, what would be her fate?
I fear, sadly, that the Crown's days are ended. The forebears' alliance with Emperor Septim made sure of that.
What else do you know about Richten?
that you should stay away from him, my boy. He will not care if you wear a crown or not, should he find out that you are Azara's brother. However, you are probably safe in the city for the time being, as he never leaves the palace, seems.
How could I get into the palace?
I will not help you do that, Cyrus. It is too dangerous.
I escaped Hammerfell just before the Civil War and without regret. That is probably why Azara never mentioned me to you. Well, it was through a mutual friend that I learned of her disappearance.
The war cost this city much, Cyrus. Though an outsider may not see it, the crowns are gone now, and only the League remains as their testament.
The temple seems very empty, Brother Niddle. Are you its only priest?
We have ever been understaffed. It was horrible right after the battle. All the dead and dying. But luckily, I had Brother Kithral to help me tend to them. Since he is gone now, I must carry on alone.
What can you tell me about the governor?
That he is a hard man. Richten threatened to raise the temple when I refused to hand over the wounded of Prince Ator, who had survived the battle. I assured him that even his emperor could not defy divine law. Nevertheless, the wounded under my care were healed only to be thrown into the catacombs thereafter.
What of Prince Ator?
He was lost at sea, my boy. That is all I know. And that it was rumored that Azara knew him personally.
So my sister knew the prince then?
Leave that alone, boy. That was but a rumor.
Did my sister fight in the Battle of Stros M'kai?
No, she was never part of the military. She could have been, though. She was good with a sword, I hear.
What is the divine law?
Richten wanted to rescind the crown's right to sanctuary while they were wounded, or to desecrate the bodies of the enemy dead before I gave them their last rites.
So Ator's men are in the catacombs then?
Either that, or they are fruit for the necromancer. It is somehow appropriate that Richten deals with that nefarious slug.
What happened to the bodies of Ator's men after their last rites?
Food for the dragon, more than likely. But at least their souls are safe from the necromancer.
The Imperials have a dragon?
Its name is Nafal-Alagus, and it lives in the catacombs, or so I have heard. It has not been seen in the skies since the battle, so maybe Richten is lying about it still being around.
What about this necromancer?
Nagasta has been here long, manifesting Tassad's good rule. Ator had kept his wretchedness at bay, but now, with the prince gone, he has cursed the land.
How has Nagasta cursed the land?
The very soil of Stros M'kai is cursed. Nagasta has become very powerful, and has weaved a soul snare across the island. Any who die must quickly have their last rites performed before their souls become his to claim.
Do you know anyone that Azara may have kept company with, vanished nationalist or otherwise?
Like I said, I knew her well, and she spoke often to Brother Kithral, my former initiate, but he, too, has disappeared. She was a devout Archaean, Azara. I once almost convinced her to join the temple, but that was before she... well...
Before she what, Brother Niddle?
Well, man, before she vanished.
I trust that you will seek me out if you hear anything more of my sister.
I will be honest, Cyrus. She is either dead or worse. for I know she would not have left Stros M'kai even after Ator's defeat. Rikton had a list of rebels when he took the throne, and Isara's name was undoubtedly upon it.
Why the temple tax?
Just another of Rikton's rules, my boy, along with several other solutions to the burden of empire.
When did you last see Kithril?
I sent him to the park for fresh mandrake root, and that is probably where Rikton's men were waiting. Kithril was against the Imperial expansion from the start, though I reminded him that Archay frowns on more secular interests. This warning Kithril obviously did not take to heart.
Until later, Brother Niddle.
Goodbye, my son.
Well met, stranger.
Excuse me, miss, can I have a word?
Yes, my name's Mariah. What can I do for you?
Do you know of a woman named Isara?
Used to see her around, but that was a while ago. Last time I saw her, she was headed toward the cartographers. Never saw her again. And that was 3 months ago, if it were a day.
Any idea how I can get into the palace?
Rikton doesn't take to uninvited guests, and there's no way to sneak in that I've heard of.
What do you know about this Restless League group?
They scare me, frankly. They've been around since the days of Facade, and no one seems to know much about them. They seem to remain as quiet as possible. Not like your usual pirates. There's something else to them.
And what does life hold for you in Stros M'kai?
Not as much as it used to. Spend my days landscaping. Before the Civil War, there were more of us. The town square and the park was so beautiful. But I do what I can.
Wars have never been good to a city.
Especially not this one. First, Ator and the Crowns defeat the Forebears, then the Empire comes rolling in. It's too much for these walls to handle.
I can only assume you are a crown.
That I am, though not as passionate as many others. I'm glad the war's over, really. Life goes on, and times change. I'll try to keep our sweet city as fair as she can be.
You sound as though you bear no grudge to the Forebears, or the Empire for that matter.
The Forebears claim to be the earliest descendants from Hammerfell, while the Crowns trace their lineage to the first rulers. It's been that way for generations, and Tiber Septim tries, where many have failed, to unite the world of Tamriel.
The cartographers. I wonder what she would want there.
Hope
Truthfully, she was just seeing Michael, the map maker, and not the boys in the smuggler's den below.
Where's the park?
Over by the waterfall. I'm ashamed you didn't notice. I have to spend more time on it. People really do enjoy it, especially that arcade boy, Kithra.
I'm surprised Rickton even allows such a practice to continue.
City beautification may not be one of Lord Rickton's concerns, but he still needs to put on the right air. Should his Emperor, Tiber Septim, ever check up on him? All leaders like their gardens full and the smell of success in the air.
What were you saying about Kithro?
He's one of the temple members. Loved the park. Would stare at the waterfall and write in his journal. Passionate crowd. That one. But now that you mention it, I haven't seen him in months.
What do you know about the smuggler's den?
Below the cartographers. I've seen all sorts coming in and out of there. Even so-called League members from time to time. I hope Zara didn't end up there.
Thanks, Mariah. Hello.
Hello, stranger. Welcome to the Mages Guild of Stros M'kai, fully chartered since 638 CE. I'm the resident shopkeeper hereabouts. Feel free to look around, but remember, everything is guild property. If there's anything you'd like to buy, just let me know.
I'm looking for a young woman named Izara.
The name is not familiar, sir. Might she have been a member of the guild?
I doubt it, but she may have been.
My apprenticeship here has lasted several years, and I haven't met any member named Asara yet, but who knows? Many members of the upper cabal are of the secretive sort.
Do you know anything about the Restless League?
I'm afraid not. The Mages Guild tries to stay out of the lesser politics.
What kind of town is Stros M'kai?
I'm too busy studying to pay it much mind. Plus, with the Empire here, the streets feel kind of dangerous.
So you never leave the guild?
If you want to know the truth, wide open spaces kind of make me nervous. Many wood elves are like that, you know.
They miss the canopy of the Valenwood trees.
Our second sky, the middle green. Let's just say I don't wander around in Stros M'kai enough to know that much about it.
How old is the Mages Guild?
This one? Or the institution itself? This one is fairly new, 200 years and a fourth more. Modern magics came late to Hammerfell.
Redguards have strong traditions.
But even they took finally to the notion of a more controlled and conscious auspice for magic. The Mages Guild was a reaction to that math hedgery of old when magic was wild and unbalanced.
How very modern for an elf.
When you're a student, you embrace the institutional line if you want to graduate.
How long do you have to be an apprentice, Ms.
Felicia, and it's been way too long. I think the guild has a prejudice against elves based on the fact that we live so long, and have the potential of reaching heights no human wizard could ever dream for, unless he goes the rotting way, which so many do. But I guess I'm just being bitter. One day I'll make Archmage, and maybe none too soon, considering there's an opening now.
Who is the Archmage?
Human named Jagenveer, a real hard case. Doesn't really have enough secrets to be Archmage, but the last one was killed at the Battle of Stros M'kai, so there was a vacuum to fill.
Do you think Jagenvir knows anything about Azara?
Wouldn't tell you if he did. He doesn't talk to mundanes, and he's too busy studying for the battle spire to be seen lately.
What's the Battle Spire?
A war college set up by the Empire to test its battle mages. An elite mages guild, really. Archmage Jagenvir's got his sights on the battle spire recently, though why anybody would want to hang out with those losers is beyond me.
What happened to the last Archmage?
Oh, his Redguard blood got the better of him. He died in the Battle of Stros M'kai, fighting alongside the prince.
The Mages Guild helped the Crowns in the battle?
Not the Mages Guild, just former Archmage Voa. He was a nationalist as well as a guild member and couldn't help himself. Got killed for mundane politics.
Maybe I could speak to somebody in the upper cabal.
Sure, you'll be right after me. As soon as you get 10 years of apprenticeship under your belt and can cast an alter reality spell. The new Archmage Jagenvir, he doesn't talk to nobody. And we make everybody else in the guild do likewise, except for me, since I run the shop.
Has the Empire interfered with the Mages Guild yet?
Of that I am not at liberty to say. Let's just say Archmage Jagenvir is trying to stay on their good side. He's got his greedy eyes on the battle spire.
I've heard one of your members got into some trouble with the governor.
I'm not supposed to talk about that.
What's for sale?
Magical potions of all sorts.
What potions do you have?
Healing potions, strength potions, and potions of iron skin.
I'll take a healing potion.
Okay, that'll be 25 gold.
Thanks. How about a strength potion?
Right here, 25 gold pieces.
Thanks. I'm gonna need a potion of iron skin.
Sure, 25 gold, please.
Thanks. Thanks for your help.
The name's Felicia. I'll be here.
Thanks, Felicia.
Thanks yourself.
Text on potions. Says here that orc's blood mixed with pig sack provides great strength. Text on potions. Says here that orc's blood mixed with pig sack provides great strength. Volumes on the art of magic. I would never have the patience. A piece of amber. Sure smells like orc's blood. This horn looks to be from a unicorn. Volumes on the art of magic. I would never have the patience. A dried-out sack from a pig. It's a small purple salamander.
Leave me, please. I have much to do. Are you slow, boy? Be gone. The battle spire test awaits. I have no time for you now. Please. Don't make me throw you out! Now, leave me! Leave me, please! I have much to do! Are you slow boy? Bingo!
The future. The past. Old friends long gone. The future. The past. Hold up a second.
Look, go past to someone else.
It's locked. Flora of Hammerfell details the flora of my home province. It says here that aloe, when combined with pure water, can have healing properties. It says here that the stars of Tamriel are divided into 13 constellations. 3 of them are the major constellations, the Guardians, which protect the minor ones, their charges from the 13th constellation, which is the Serpent. Each Guardian has 3 charges apiece, and are only on guard during their particular season. The current season is presided over by the Warrior. Redguards, they are heroes in history. It talks of Redguard origins and their great heroes, including Hunding, who, with his 5 magical swords, drove the goblins from Hammerfell, and Lecky, the saint of the spirit sword. This book on dwarven lore reveals that the dwarves were destroyed long ago by the Dark Elves. There is one interesting passage which translates the dwarven language, which bears a slight resemblance to Elven. This book on Elven artifacts details the Flask of Lilandril, an ancient flask with the ability to absorb magic. The flask was supposedly shipwrecked with its founders off the coast of Stros M'kai sometime during the First Era. One of the sections even has some sort of map notations in it. Maybe someone can make a map from them. It doesn't do anything by
Welcome
itself.
to Jeffers.
Hail, Desert Walker. I am Cyrus.
Jeffer is at your service.
My sister Izara is missing. Do you know her?
An all too common tale in this city. Jeffer regrets that he cannot count your sister among his friends.
Ever heard of a group called the Restless League?
Some say pirates, some say rebels. Jeffer knows too little to judge. Rumor calls them secret allies of the late prince. Whether they survived the crown's defeat, Jeffer cannot say.
Stros M'kai seems quiet, almost deserted. Has the Imperial occupation been so harsh?
Tiber Septim has many clansmen of lesser repute than he. The city of the Redguards suffers under one of the least of these. Provisional Governor Richten.
Tiber Septim's reputation seems to depend on who you ask.
True, and the Redguards have long memories, as the statue in the harbor attests. History loves an empire builder, though. Jeffer cannot yet say who will write Septim's epitaph.
I was surprised to see Hunding's statue still standing, national treasure or not.
Doubtless, our esteemed governor has reasons aside from Redguard's sentiment. Lord Richten has shown indifference to such niceties in other matters. Witness the fate of the old quarter.
The Old Quarter? What happened there?
In his excessive zeal to root out his clan's enemies, Richten put it to the torch. A silent history of Hammerfell, wrought in stone and wood, now ashes. The Redguards speak of dragon fire in the night, but Jeffer remained indoors, and so saw nothing.
Do you mean a dragon was here on Stros M'kai?
Was, is. Jeffer hears much, but knows little.
Is there any way to gain an audience with the governor?
Proclaiming yourself a crown might work, but more likely will lead to a speedy death. Few besides forebears have access to the palace.
There must be some other way into the palace.
An interesting architectural puzzle. The present structure dates to the early Common Era. A harmonious design, that is, until our esteemed governor began his renovations. The foundations are much older, connected to a maze of catacombs, which may predate the arrival of Redguards in Hammerfell.
How do I get into the catacombs?
That honor is now reserved for crowns, who must find it a pleasant place, for none has ever returned.
The forebears run Stros M'kai now?
Redguard politics largely escape me. The forebears allied with the Empire to win the throne, yet who sits on the high seat of Sentinel? Not Baron Volag, strangely absent from public view since his victory.
Do you think Richten dared murder the forebears' leader?
A strange reward for your chief ally, Jeffer agrees. And no mention of murder passed Jeffer's lips. Still, there is no king in Hammerfell.
Is it so dangerous to be a crown these days?
Jeffer's interests lie more in the past than with the current upheavals, but even Jeffer can see that the city has been cleansed of dissidents. Yet soldiers continue to scour the island. To what end?
Do you have any idea what the Imperials are looking for?
Jeffer sent 4 copies of Dwarven lore to the palace last week. It may be no coincidence that Stros M'kai, with the largest Dwarven ruins in the Windward Lands, has received particular attention from the mighty Tiber Septim's clansmen.
Windward lands? I'm not familiar with that term.
My apologies. Jafar almost forgot he spoke to the unclawed. The coastlands of Tamriel, to the northwest of our desert homeland. Mighty Tiber Septim bids fair to become clan mother to them all, Hammerfell included.
Dwarven ruins. I'm intrigued.
As well you should be. An amazing sight, full of the inexplicable work of that vanished people. No longer open for visitors. However, the Imperials have sealed the ancient gates for reasons known only to our honorable governor.
I'd like to buy a book.
These shelves hold wisdom and folly in equal measure. Choose carefully.
How much for Elven Artifacts, Volume 3?
The hoary tale of the Flask of Lilandril piques your interest. Legend more than history, but a good read for 40 gold. Will it be yours?
I'll take it.
Excellent choice.
I'd like to buy a book.
These shelves hold wisdom and folly in equal measure. Choose carefully.
Do you recommend Favrel's Dwarven lore?
Marabar Sul's Ancient Tales of the Dreamer is more comprehensive, but hard to come by, alas. And a weighty tome, too, at 16 volumes. For 54 gold, Favril's little book is an excellent overview.
I'll take it.
Excellent choice.
I'd like to buy a book.
These shelves hold wisdom and folly in equal measure. Choose carefully.
Is Flora of Hammerfell worth buying?
The authoritative work, no less. And for the bargain price of 15 gold, it can be yours.
I'll take it.
Excellent choice.
I'd like to buy a book.
These shelves hold wisdom and folly in equal measure. Choose carefully.
How much for Redguards, their heroes in history?
Your taste runs to the patriotic. A tale to stir the blood and fire the soul of any true Redguard. Although our esteemed governor might not agree, Jafar asks but 20 gold.
I'll take it.
Excellent choice.
I'd like to buy a book.
These shelves hold wisdom and folly in equal measure. Choose carefully.
What do you think about Folk's Firmament?
Less ambitious than Yunkarl's published studies, and less concerned with comparative astrology, though a decidedly human take on the stars of Tamriel. Folk's Firmament is not without its own little virtues. Jafar can part with it then for 36 gold.
I'll take it.
Excellent choice.
What do you know of this legendary flask?
Legends surround it, but Jafar is sure the flask is real. Scribes of ancient Lilandril record its discovery. Yes, the flask is not of elfish make, despite what you may read. They found it, used it, and lost it. But its creator is unknown.
What makes the flask so valuable?
Here we have only legend to guide us. Stories tell of the High Wizard of Valenwood himself, defeated by a stable boy, armed only with the flask. Exaggeration, surely, but still a kernel of truth. An anti-magic device of no small power.
It sounds like the flask may absorb magic.
Perhaps that would explain why no mage has ever been able to detect its location.
Peace, Desert Walker. I must go. I need to use this with something else.